When I got into real estate in the year 2000, God, that's been 17 years, almost 18 years now. I was a mega agent for 6 years on my own, and I opened a Keller Williams office, and I stopped selling real estate to become a team leader. And so for the next 4.5 or 5 years, I was a team leader, and that's really where I got like an MBA, if you will, in the business of real estate, or the college of real estate. Before that, when I was selling on my own, I worked hard. I talked to a lot of people, did a lot of open houses, knocked on a lot of doors, called a lot of for sale by owners, talked to a lot of expireds, worked a database, did geographic farming, did sociographic farming, stayed away from all schizophrenic farming. That never worked. Though I did just about everything you could imagine that an agent would do to sell homes. I had an assistant, didn't have an assistant, had a buyer's agent, didn't have a buyer's agent. And frankly, I was tired of it. At 2006, I was 26 years old, and I was 25 years old, and I was tired of selling real estate. I was selling 80 to 90 homes per year. And if you sell 80 or 90 homes a year and you don't have any type of staff, you're busy all the time. You work evenings, you work weekends, and I was making really incredible money, though I had no life balance. And I was actually in the process of leaving real estate. I was saying to hell with this, and I was going to go remodel houses. And I was in the process of buying a truck and a couple of decals, and I was going to flip homes and remodel homes, because I was doing that in the evenings on top of selling 80 or 90 houses a year. And Keller Williams met me and said, you ought to come look at this. And I thought, well, I've got 6 years in this industry. I'm a top agent where I am, and I hate it. So yeah, I'll join you. I'll go look at this. And I never looked back. And for the next 4.5 or 5 years, I got to work with Gary Keller. I got to teach MREA models. I got to learn the business side of real estate. I already knew the sales side to a degree. I learned the business side. And that's when I said, there's no way I'd ever leave this industry. Well, after 5 years of being a team leader, I wanted to go back into sales. I wanted to go back and do it the right way. I wanted to go back and build an MREA level business like I'd never done before. And the idea was, what could I do that would be earth shattering to the industry? Now, back in 2011, when we started Portland Real Estate Group, we started it late in 2010, like November, right? And it was myself and an operations assistant. And neither one of us were selling homes, though I knew we had to drive leads and I knew we had to drive a business. So we were standing there in the office the week of Christmas. The business had been open for about a month, and it was just the two of us. And I looked over and I said, hey, Josh, how many leads do we have this month? And he goes, dude, we've got 600 leads. And I said, awesome. And then the room was silent. And he goes, I'm not calling any of them. And I said, I know, I'm not calling any of them either. And what we were focused on was finding and building a real estate sales team. You see, I had said I wanted to go back into production, though I wanted to do it in such a way that I could support all the people in the business instead of being the guy in the business. And what I said was, I want to sell 100 plus homes this first year without meeting a single client, without getting eyeball to eyeball with any buyers or sellers. And so in January, we hired the first couple of buyer's agents to the team. And that year we sold 104 homes, and I never met a single buyer or a single seller. Well, I'd been working with Gary Keller and talking about the idea of expansion. And so in 2011, we opened our first expansion site, which lasted about a year. In 2012, we opened another one, which we also incidentally shut down. In 2013, we opened 3. And we were a real believer in crawling before we walk and walking before we run, and definitely running for a while before we would sprint or marathon. And so in 2013, 2014, 2015, we had this slow growth. We'd bring on a couple of partners. We'd bring on a couple of cities. We'd find out what worked, what didn't work. I mean, heaven's sakes, back in the beginning, in 2013, 2014, we were trying to reproduce the MREA level business in all these different cities. I remember having these employees in Boise, and we got a bill from the Department of Revenue in Idaho that said, you owe us taxes. And we went, well, crap, that makes sense. We're paying somebody in Boise an hourly wage. Like, we should probably pay some taxes. That's how much we didn't know what we were doing. And we've learned, and we've worked. And the truth is, no one knows what they're doing in expansion. What we do know is this. We do know it's the greatest single invent within the real estate space since the idea of buyer broker. Since the idea of a buyer being able to work directly with a broker who represented the buyer only. Because before that, and by the way, none of us on this call were in business at that time, and it's only been about 25 or 27 years. Because before that time, buyers didn't have any representation. Every single agent represented only the seller. You see, we tend to overlook just how fast things shift or change in our business, and we think, oh, things have always been this way. No, things haven't always been this way. So in 2015, we started making large steps in expansion. In 2015, we started putting all of our resources into expansion. At that point, the hub or the team here in Portland was already churning out 20, 25, 30 escrows a month. So we had an MREA level business selling 200, 250 homes a year. So that was fine, though we had much bigger appetites than that. In other words, we couldn't impact enough lives. You see, an MREA level business or team might have an owner or a mega agent and one or two people that are high up, and everybody else just sells a couple of houses or processes files. And the truth was, when I looked at it, no offense to anybody who does it, because they're my close friends, it wasn't big enough. I couldn't have a big enough impact on enough lives. And I'd said earlier in my life that I'd be defined someday by the thumbprints I'd left on people's lives. And so Gary said, well, Cody, you're going to have to do something so freaking big that people could live their lives within it and not have to leave you. Hence, expansion. And so in 2015, 2016, we start making these giant pushes into expansion. And you know, in 2017, January of this year, I don't know the exact number, I'd have to look. We were under 40 partners. I think we had 37 or 38 partners in January of 2017. Well, in October of 2017, we have 140 partners. That's massive growth in January through October of this year. And the thing is this, I was teaching expansion maybe 2 years ago, and I made the comment, I said, you know, being in expansion right now is like hopping in an airplane that you're going to fly to a new destination and you're going to build it while you're in midair. You know, and so you're in this plane and you're flying it and you realize, hey, things are going pretty good. And someone leans over and says, the wing is missing. And you go, oh yeah, we need wings. And so you run back there and you put a wing back on. You're like, all right, you're looking at the wing going, dude, we got 2 really good wings. These wings are fantastic. And someone leans over and says, who's steering up there? And you go, oh yeah, somebody should be steering. And so you run back up there to the front and you hop back in and you start steering and you get the idea. It's literally like building an airplane mid-flight. Now, with all of the challenges that we have within expansion, what we also have is we have an expansion business that's on track to sell 1,000 homes this year. And when you look at what a business can do together with 1,000 sales, here's the deal. When I was just a real estate agent, I couldn't afford a telemarketing center. When I was, no matter how successful I was, couldn't have one. When I was just a real estate agent, I couldn't afford the level of internet lead generation that we do. Couldn't do it. When I was just an agent, I couldn't afford the operational staff that we have. Couldn't do it. And so expansion provides the hub with the business to be able to provide the tools. And then the hub provides the tools and the support back to the expansion partner, which is what makes us a partnership. It's not a passenger ship, it's a partnership. And you know, you think about it, when you join an expansion business, it's almost like taking a 6 or 8 year leap in your real estate business right now. So you think about it. So Lisa, you're a new agent and you're, did you say about 3 months in?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So if you're 3 months in, you know, I don't know any realtors anywhere who on day 90 can say, you know what, I'm going to sit an open house next weekend. And what I would love to do is have somebody else call the 100 closest neighbors and make sure they know about the open house coming up. Like, I don't know a single agent who could do that. When I was 3 months in, I couldn't do that. When I was 3 years in, I couldn't do that. When I was 7 years in, I couldn't do that. I would dream about it. Like, you know what, someday I'm going to have so much business I can afford all that stuff. Well, the problem is someday sometimes doesn't even happen. Like, most of the time it doesn't even happen. Though with expansion, you step into expansion, you say, you know what? I'll join you. I'll be a part of UHG. UHG says, fantastic, welcome to the team. Oh, by the way, do you want to do a call around next week? And all of a sudden you have leverage you wouldn't have had otherwise. Now, at the same time, it's not free, and it's not a benevolence. It's not a gift from the heavens. It's a partnership. Now, the thing is this, what I like about expansion is you get the upside of the tools and the systems and the models without the downside of paying for them before you have money. So in other words, you have the call center. I mean, you guys have Sync, Commissions Inc., which is $1,500 a month just to have the damn thing turned on. Now, we're happy to pay it because we want you to go work it. Again, it's not a free gift from the heavens. It's a partnership. And so what happens is you have the tools and the systems. You don't pay for it until you actually have closings. So it's kind of like being somebody and saying, you know what, I've always wanted to have a restaurant. Like I've just dreamed of having a restaurant. And you have this weird uncle who has a bag full of money. And this weird uncle comes by and says, listen, I tell you what, I'll lease the space and I'll pay for the staff. You go ahead and start your dream of a restaurant. I'll invest in you and you only pay me back on the nights that you have profit. That'd be like, wow, are you kidding me? I'm in. Well, that's kind of what expansion looks like. Again, it's not benevolence. It's not free. It's a partnership. The difference is you're only paying when you have closings. We continue to put the systems and the tools out there. At the same time, you know what, Cheyenne, I don't take it lightly at all. I can't sell homes where you live. I don't have a real estate license there. You have a real estate license there. So what you bring to the table, Belinda, I see your name on there. What you bring to the table is you bring sales in the local market that we can't have. And so that's the benefit that the partner brings. We bring the systems and the models that the partner wouldn't have on their own. And all of a sudden, as cheesy as it is, together everybody achieves more. So Ben, that was kind of a long answer, and I don't remember even the original question.
I'm used to it by now.
Though sometimes I'm like a doll, and you just like pull the string and. Though I'll tell you this, the fun thing about expansion is the types of things that we can do and the impacts we can have. I look at partners like Terrence Mayo, who is in the Southeast, and the Southeast region had a rough start, man. The Southeast was tough. We wanted to go there, and I hired this team leader who was coming out of the team leader role. Amazing guy, great guy. His name was Steven, really a nice dude. And so Steven joined us, flew out to Portland, spent some time with me, went back to the Southeast and became our regional director for the Southeast. Brought on about 8 partners or 9 partners, good people that are still with our company. Nanette Briggs was brought in by him. Nanette will do 40 sales this year. Terrence Mayo was brought in by him. Terrence will sell 70 or 75 homes this year. By the way, without us last year, he sold 30. Now, what happened was this. On Christmas Day, about 2 months or 3 months after joining me, Steven sent me an email Christmas morning and said, Cody, I love you. I love what you're doing. Expansion's not my thing. It's not what I thought it was. Peace out, Cub Scout. I got to go. And I said, all right, my door's always open and I love you and I'll help you with whatever. Thank you. And that was December. That was Christmas. And we didn't bring on Chad. Ben, you might know, I think we brought on Chad like in April or May. It was late spring. It was before summer. And so that region didn't have a regional director at all for like 5 months. And, we lost 5 or 6 partners during that time. They said, you know what? And we thought it was one thing and it was another. And we said, no problem. See you later. Though the ones that stayed with us are some of our very best partners. Kelly Yoakum in Birmingham, Alabama, joined with Steven. And Kelly sent an email. She's helping us to plan our UHG University right now. And Kelly sent me an email this morning. And one of the things she said was, having been now with UHG for almost a year, she said, I talk like someone who's been a realtor for 10 years. I think like someone who's been a realtor for 10. And, I think we overlook the value of what that means. If we can speed up the process of success, then we can get there faster. And it's not about people that can't do it. A friend of mine who's deep in expansion will go out and look for agents who can't do it on their own. He'll put them on their expansion team, and then he'll find a way to do it with them. And, I don't think that's wrong. I don't think it's bad. Though I'll tell you, I've never loved that idea, because to me, someone who can't do it on their own probably won't do it with me. Or if they will, they won't do it very well. And so the people that we look for are people who can do it without us. We don't look at our partners and go, oh, our partners. We don't look at Lindsay Vasquez in Fresno, who has broken 10 sales a month with us 4 times this year, and go, oh, Lindsay Vasquez is selling 10 or 12 homes a month because of us. No, to hell with that. We're not that prideful. Now, by the way, we don't overlook the fact that before us, she never once broke 10 in a month. We don't overlook that. At the same time, together we do it. By the way, before Lindsay, I wasn't selling homes in Fresno. That's called a partnership.
Right.
She wins and we win. By the way, she'll almost triple her production this year. That's exciting, though what's really exciting is that's only a year in with us. Where could she be in 3 years? The question you should have asked is, how do I take the models or systems or platform of UHG, and how do I build an amazing real estate sales business with it? To hell with the systems, to hell with the regional director in charge, to hell with everything. If you're in this organization right now and your goal is anything other than to build an amazing real estate sales business that funds your dreams, your hopes, and your lives, you should leave. If that's not why you're here, I don't want to be in business with you. Ben, can I be that straight?
Please.
And so the truth is this: if you're here for any other reason than that, you ought to get out. And we've got people that are in our company that are here because they want to do this or do, and they ought to get out. The truth is this: you should only be in business with me because you want to build an amazing real estate sales business. And you say, listen, I can be the locomotive. What I need is the right track to run on. I can be a great train. What I need is enough fuel that pushes me faster, further, and harder than I would have ever pushed myself. That's why you're in business with me. Everything else comes and goes. Everything else is good one day, bad the next. I mean, maybe one system works one day and the next day it doesn't. Welcome to life, by the way. Maybe this process works and then the next day it doesn't. Maybe one of our staff members is awesome on Monday and has a bad day on Tuesday. Welcome to earth. Those things happen. The reason we're in business together is you say, listen, I'm going to take the tools and the systems and the models, and I'm going to power my business with it. And the truth is this: when you look at the systems or the tools, when we break it down, just the generic systems and tools would cost almost $7,000 a month if I were to go buy them as a solo agent, or if you were to go buy them as a solo agent. And the problem is this: there's very few agents I know who have $7,000 a month to invest in the business. To have $7,000 to invest means you've got to earn probably 20, 22 to pay company dollar, to pay expenses, to pay taxes, like that shows up, to pay yourself. That's a fun idea. To have $7,000 left over to say, hey, I'm going to take this and I'm going to plug it into my business to push myself forward. The difference is because we're so large, and with size comes opportunity. That's a fact. I know I can't do what I do without enough partners, because with size, I can say, listen, all right, let's hire Lisa. I'll just pick on you, Lisa. Let's hire Lisa, who's brand new, and let's go invest $6,000 or $7,000 a month into her before she even has one sale. Now, what happens if she never sells anything? We lose. That's what that's called. I mean, I don't have to be a rocket scientist to understand that, though we don't bet on losers. We bet on people we think can be winners. And so what we do is we invest, and then they start selling homes. And all of a sudden, that's a partnership. So the question should be, Cody, tubla boobla with all this administrative stuff, I don't care. How do I build a business? And I'll tell you, the number one way to do that in our organization is to listen to the models, listen to the systems, and be willing to commit to the journey of accountability. And some of those days are good and some of those days are bad. Some of those days are easy and some of those days are hard. Welcome to being a business. Though the truth is this: as much as I love Keller Williams and I bleed KW Red, man, I bleed it. And even with that, you're an associate in a market center of 200 or 300 or 400 or 500 people. And if you don't show up one day, nobody cares. No one's forcing you to do the business. When you're at United Home Group, I look at the regional director, and what you don't see is the intense stress and pressure on the neck of that regional director. Because as much as I say I invest the dollars, guess what? I didn't become who I am investing them and hoping it worked. I became who I am by investing them smartly and demanding a return on investment. And so the RD gets my foot on their throat saying, hey, let's look at this list. You've got these 15 partners, these 25 partners. Here's all the money going into them every month. Where are the sales? Well, no, there is no well, How come you're not coaching them at such a level that they're out there selling 4 homes a month? By the way, the reason they joined you was to go sell more homes. And if they're not selling more homes, then we're corrupt somewhere. So you got to fix it. And so that regional director has the foot of the organization on their throat. By the way, you want the foot of the organization on their throat, because they're coming back to you and saying, how do we sell more homes? What do we need to do to get you in face or in front of 10 for sale by owners a month or 12 new sellers a month? Isn't that what you want anyway? You want more business. What we're doing is we're forcing it. We're not hoping it shows up on its own. So as much as I say, here's all the things we give, you know what? It's a partnership. What you give is you give us an opportunity to sell homes in a city that we would never sell homes in. It's together. It's not me. It's not you. It's we.